Well, hello. I see you're here, Alpha Fam. And first, we're waiting for the ad to run out before I go off of my going live. My intro panel with the food, with the pile of vegetables, or fruit, all fruit. I wait. None of these timers agree on how long I'm supposed to wait. That one's done. That one's done. That one's done. Okay. They were a second apart. Hello. Hi. Welcome. Warder. Oh my God. Coming in hot. Coming in hot, fresh, ready, wet. With that Prime sub. Thank you so much. Return to the pile. Cast yourself upon the heap. Coming in moist. Flamingo, hi. Alpha Fem, hi. Alpha Fem, you're first. Congratulations. If you're in my Discord, you already saw this, but here it is again. I found this pan. Now, you're too far away from it to really see it, but if we zoom in and flip it around to where it actually says the name. These things, someone ages ago, last year and a half, sometime early on, someone asked me what I thought about hex-clad pans. And my review of them was, they are too expensive, so I can't, why am I looking at the ceiling so much? They're too expensive, so I can't tell you, I had never used one, I had never even seen one, except on the internet. A lot of cooking channels had gotten them and reviewed them, but that was because they had established, like, they could write it off as a business expense. This pan, new, is $150. I got it for $8, and I let them round up. It is in fabulous condition. It has been used because there's some slight discoloring on the back where it would have been touching the burner. So it has been used, but the cooking face looks pristine. So either it was barely used or it did what it's designed to do and is indestructible. Mags did. Possibly. I forget. It was ages ago and I've lost track. And all you people look the same. Anyways, so for $8, rounded up to 9, it was just too good to pass up. And I literally have only just gotten it home. I haven't even washed it. So we could get, because I just took the sticker off of it, we could give it a test run. Supposedly, you can crack an egg into this thing naked and it won't stick. And then you can scrape that egg up with your most aggressively steel of spatulas and it won't damage the nonstick. That's supposedly what you're paying for when you pay for the absurd price for one of these is. So what it is, and I knew this already, the pattern, the little dots are raised just infinitesimally above the surface of the nonstick. And the nonstick, I asked a company representative from this company once what their nonstick is made of, and they refused to tell me. So anyways, we're not doing that first. We're not using this for our main event today, but we're going to give this a test drive at some point because, dang. until then, it's going to go live over here because I haven't even given... I should wash it now. I just got it in. We're going to give it a wash so that when I do want to use it later, it has a chance to dry off. And then I can finally, actually, give a real opinion on the pan here. My opinion of it being too expensive, that's still true. I looked online to see where I could find it that wasn't break the bank, because if you get it directly from them, now this is a griddle, not a skillet, so pricing's a little bit different on it. But if you get it directly from Hexclad, they're charging $140 before tax, so it would be it would be expensive. Costco has them for $100. And if Costco can only get them down to $100, that's pretty telling about where the price point lands. So that guy can dry off in the corner over there. Wow, it's so shiny too. That guy can dry off in the corner over there, and we can return to him later. I've got some eggs, and I could just do a quick attempt fry up who knows what. Slap something together. I forgot to grab my jicama, so we're going to go grab the jicama. Jicama. I don't know how many I'm going to need, so I'm going to grab all 3 of them. The jicama. Today's plan, Rayuya suggested, because of the texture of jicama is similar to apple, that what if you used it like an apple and made apple pie, jicama pie. And that sounds promising to me. So we're going to attempt something like that, except my experience cooking the jicama in the stir fry is that it is much sturdier than an apple, and it's actually probably sturdier than a potato, so we might even have to par cook it. Cybertraz! Cybertraz! You're here. You're covered in raccoons. Adorable. Also, be perceived. Go follow Cybertraz. Hi, Cybertraz. Welcome, welcome. And the other thing with the jicama has nothing to do with the jicama. Today I was watching a video which was not about pie. It was about different cutting surfaces. But the host, as part of the demonstration of cutting of different work surfaces, made a short crust pastry. And then just to demonstrate how the butter melts differently. And then at the end, to answer the question, well, what did you do with that short crust pastry? Made a galette. And I thought that sounded like a great idea. Instead of a full pie, make a galette. So I'm going to make a jicama galette instead, which is like a pie. A galette is essentially a pie, but you don't have a pie pan. It's just folded, like parceled. Mini Trans is going home. Aw. Well, I try to remember who's got their own channels. Flamingo does. The problem is when somebody is here all the time, I forget that they also have their own thing. and I forget to give shout outs. So yeah, that's the plan. We're going to make, and I got to figure out, do we want to par cook the jicama to give it a better chance? Yeah, I should do that. I've got Firebot. I've got Firebot installed. Firebot, I haven't ordered Firebot to do anything. My Firebot just sits there. It doesn't do anything. Um, Waste of space. I just need to go through and do the setup and give it permission to all that sort of stuff. So, anyways, I'm debating whether I want to par cook the jicama, and also what else goes in the galette with the jicama, because just a bunch of jicama in a pastry does not really sound very tasty. It needs something else, probably cheese. We're going for a savory galette, because this is not sweet. These things aren't sugary like apples. So we're kind of gonna brainstorm our way into the process. And if I ever need help, I can just bother Zunder, who programs Firebot. And I haven't seen him on in ages, but I bet you I could bug him on Discord and get help. Or Cybertraz. Cybertraz has just, yes, exploit Zunder. So we are. I need a reference. I need a reference recipe, because there's no way I'm going to make short cuss a short crust pastry from memory. And that's the first step we need, because then we put it in the fridge so it can chill, so that when we end up rolling it out, it's not melty. I know he's not been streaming, but I see him pop in things. So I bet you if I really needed some advanced help, I could just bip him in his Discord, because he's also got his own Discord. Everybody has a Discord. Everybody has a Discord. That's the thing. Anyways, I'm looking up short crust. Blah, 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 text, explanation. 2 cups of flour to 8 tablespoons of butter. Cold. A little bit of cold water. Everything's got to be cold, cold, cold. And I actually got a good explanation as to why. It's not just that you don't want the butter to melt. It's that you don't want the butter to become homogeneous in the flour. You want it to be micro lumpy, but still lumpy on that micro scale, so that when it bakes, it's crumbly and not a big solid sheet. Quit energy drink 4 days ago. Damn. Well, I weep for your headaches. But I also gave up energy drinks. At my old job, I used to get one of those tall boy monsters and use it to keep myself going, because there was just so much work, and I just had to go. And I kept on taking on more work to get other people, to help other people out, because it was just never ending. Go. Work. And I did that until one day I was literally shaking and could not hold my hands still from the caffeine. and then I was the last. That was the last time I had an energy drink. I still have coffee in the morning, but that was the last time I had an energy drink. They are very effective, too effective. While I've been talking to you, I have been getting out the food processor because I'm not going to do this by hand because that sounds because that sounds so now I have a coffee in the morning. I mean, the job was, I actually really enjoyed the job. That was the thing. I really enjoyed the job, which is part of why I kept pushing because I liked what I did. But when you like what you do and it's a lot of work and you just get handed more work, it burns. It burns hard. Let's pull up a second short crust. Let's pop you guys over to the countertop. Oh my God, there's a spinning wheel of death on the countertop. Let's do a cross reference, a different short crust. I might be able to get away with a half if I do like a small one. Ideally, I would just use one jicama for this. Because one of these sounds like a pretty substantial meal for one. Hello, burnout. Yes, indeed. I burned out on that hard. It was very unfortunate. No, proportions. I hate these recipes. I hate recipe sites. Oh my God. 8 tablespoons of butter. This one has 1 1/4 flour. If I split the difference, we get about 1 1/2 cups of flour. It sounds like we should be weighing our flour instead of measuring it in cups because you guys can't agree for equal quantities of butter. Oh God, they even have weights for the butter. But butter's incompressible. Butter always weighs the same. Bakers of the world. Get your act together. Jicama. This is a jicama. We talked about it on Tuesday because on Tuesday is when I got all the roots. So I got 4 jicamas, 3 celery roots, and 5 white yams out of the dollar produce clearance stuff. And we cut up one of the jicamas and one of the yams, and I made a yam mash and a jicama. I mean, normally my J makes a J sound, but I know that this is supposed to be pronounced jicama with a in the language that it comes from. Also, hi, isosceles. Jicama, because it comes from Spanish. Because the Spanish stole it from the Nahuatl, who call it Jicamatl. It's native to Mexico. It's native to Mexico. The Spanish stole the word from the native Mexicans. The native Mexicans had been growing this as a vegetable for, I don't know, 10 billion years. Oh, 3000 BC. It has been found. So thousands of years of cultivation in the Americas. What it is a starchy root. What it is a starchy root. The ones I got were a little gnarly around the cut points. So the stem comes out one side and then the root comes out the other. And this is like a big tuberous bulb, and they're a little lumpy, irregular. The one we cut up on Tuesday looked more like this. It had a green spot, which when you cut away doesn't go very far in because these are very, very solid. What's interesting about them is, unlike, say, a potato or a turnip or a beet or a parsnip or any of those like traditional European roots, you don't have to cook this thing. You can just eat it like a carrot. The texture is very, very similar to an apple. It has that crisp, that sharp crispness of an apple. But it tastes, I think, it tastes like green peas, like raw garden peas, which is a really interesting combination. And also, I kind of love it. It was one of those things that I've looked at the store a lot and been like, I don't know what to do with that. Do I really want to buy some? And I don't know. Not that it's terribly expensive. It's $1 a pound. They're not the cheapest in the world. They're more expensive than a potato. But they're not like back-breakingly expensive. But I found some in the discount bin, and that's the perfect time to try something. And I love apples, and apparently part of what I love about apples is the texture, because I just kind of want to snack on these. Although they have you got to peel them. The skin is not, near as I can tell, it might be edible if you really cooked it, but it's pretty fibrous. There's like a fibrous skin. No, that's the perfect time, because if you don't like it, then you're only out $1, and you can chuck the ones you didn't like. Wait till we try this other thing. I'm getting caught up. Wait till we try one of these. Ooh. These guys are always too expensive. But now I got 3 of them. So we're going to do something with them. They were also $1. $1. No, I'm frugal too. I'm frugal, but $1 for unknown vegetable, as opposed to more than that for things that I'm already aware of, is a good deal, because I get to experiment and explore. Anyways, there's a 1.5 cups of flour in there, and we're going to pull out 1 stick o' butter from my sticks o' butter. going to get sticky. All of this butter goes in there. Short crust is a very butter intensive thing. This is salted butter, so I will not be adding additional salt. Which makes this a 2-ingredient recipe. Also, today is a terrible day to be making short crust. It is really warm. Turn on the old processor here. You can find Arizona tea for 99 cents still. They raised the price around me. Some of the Arizona teas don't say 99 cents right on the can anymore, and they're selling them for $1.29. It's a travesty. That was predictable. Well, maybe not. Usually it keeps the stuff inside. That was quite the flower fountain we just had there. Okay, 75 cents. Well, damn. So, that should be our short crust pastry. What we have done, using the high-speed spinning blade, although I set it to low, so the low-speed but still high-speed spinning blade. That's why it fountained the first time out, because I had the blade set too high. But what we have done, oh, I need to clean my, there's remnants of an old spill that I missed right there. You're supposed to cut the butter into the I have seen the ones that do not have 99 cents printed directly on the can. I know that the ones that have 99 cents printed directly on the can, they're committed to, but they're apparently sneaking some out that do not have it printed on the can. And those I have seen marked up. Which I also heard that the CEO was adamant that that was never going to happen. But somebody is doing a thing. We need some very cold water. So I'm going to run my tap until it is as cold as I can get it. We're going to put this guy back on low. At the top, off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I think it was the checkerboard can. Okay, I can't let this stuff get hot, so we have to just move along and trust the process. This is that dough that you're not supposed to handle because the heat from your hands will melt the butter and that will cause you to lose your texture. It's still powdery. Get the blade out of there. You should be able to just take some of it and give it a little squish and it'll stick together, which is exactly what it did. I also think we need a little bit more water because this is too dry. Oh, yeah, like I'm not doing this by hand, geez. People did this by hand because there was no choice, not because they wanted to, not because it was the best way. It's just the oldest way. I'm sure I'm doing this wrong, but like you can see it sort of clumping. It just needs to hydrate the dough, the flour, but only just. Oh, shoot. I don't think I have a big enough plastic wrap for it either. I don't think I have a big enough plastic wrap. I need an assistant with cold hands. Yes. I need a bigger piece of... Should have dried my hands off. I thought, oh, that'll add a little bit of moisture to it. Yeah. Yeah, it did. Ugh. No, it's spilling out of the plastic wrap. I need to wrap it up quick. We're losing... But that's as wide as it goes. Oh. Oh no, I can get that in there. We're making a mess. We're making a mess. We're double wrapping it so that it doesn't burst open on me. Okay, now we're going to do other things while that chills. Chill out. Jay, hi. Well, our galette might end up being a mess if that dough does not work, so that's going to be fun. Let me clean this up, and I will tell you about jicama and galette. Those are two different things. That's a jicama. I need a sweeper because this stuff is slightly, slightly sticky. So a galette is a type of French pastry, which is why we just made a French short. Big pressure on the dough. Is that advice, or is that saying that I'm under pressure? Liz, hi. Also, Jay, hi. Welcome, welcome. We were just talking about jicama, so I'll talk about it again. Jicama is this. It's a starchy root vegetable from Central and South America that I recently discovered in the bargain bin. So we've got a couple of them here. And I absolutely love it. It's super tasty. It tastes like green peas, but it has the texture of a fresh apple. And apparently, it is quite sturdy and resistant to cooking as well. And you have to peel it because the brown part is not good eaten. Where's that knife? The knife has butter on it. Speaking of which, let's peel it. And let's cut around the little root bits. Now, there's going to be some discolored spots in here because these were in the bargain bin. So we'll just cut those away. And a galette is a French pastry that is like folded like a parcel as opposed to being made in a shaped pan. And it seems easier. And I've never made one, so we're going to make one. There, see, and this discolored brown stuff doesn't go very deep, so normally they don't have the brown spots on the inside. They are just nice and white. The brown spots are because these are quite old. Nope. What are you? Okay. But yeah, so we're kind of playing around with new vegetables. Rayuya said, whoa, okay. We might have to cut up another one if that spot goes much deeper. That spot does not look so good. In fact, we're going to find out right now how deep that goes by splitting it right there. Whoa! Well, I guess that's why they were in the bargain bin. We're getting rid of that, whatever that is. And that's the danger in getting your bargain bin vegetables. Sometimes they are extra gnarly. Okay. I lost track of what I was saying. So whatever I was saying before probably is no longer important. Boy, it's easier to peel. It's actually easier to peel as a half circle. What was I saying? Oh, I was saying what a galette. A galette, French pastry, folded, does not have a pan. You just put it flat. I think you're supposed to put it flat on the bottom of a stone oven. I don't have a stone oven. But I have a pizza stone, so we can probably use that. Okay, we lost some. We lost some. To the ravages of age. But not too bad. I've definitely had vegetables come out of that bin with greater losses than this. Just shave that bit. Okay. Now, I don't know how much I'm going to want. We might have to cut up another one since I did lose about a third of that guy. But if you just cut this off, nice little chunks, you can just eat it. And it tastes like peas, but it crunches like apples. Which I find delightful. What do you think? How much do we need? Let's cut another one, because then another one might also have some gnarly bits. Boy, it's much easier to peel once it's cut in half. Wow. Definitely cut them in half. Just having that flat surface so that it doesn't roll around on you is a huge, huge difference. Don't do what I'm doing here and cut towards your hand. Do it this way and cut away from your hand. That cutting towards your hand is a good way to get yourself banned on Twitch. Because if you slice your hand open, then you're bleeding, and that is a terms of service violation. Just a pro tip. So, what's everybody else up to today on this Friday, September 20th? Oh, damn. I feel like it should not already be the 20th. I feel like it should not already be September. Where did August go? Heck, screw August. Where did April go? I lost that month. Just vanished. Okay, that one was much smoother than the first one. We didn't have that big gnarly thing on the inside. January was just last week. Exactly. What the heck happened? What the heck? What the heck? We don't need the food processor unless our short crust fails, so I can put that away. Weird flex twitch. I don't know that it specifically is, but I think it falls under like violent acts or something. Something like that. You know, accidentally slashing yourself is the same as deliberately slashing yourself. Something like that. We're going to get out this big white box. Which contains this device. Which is our mandolin. There we go. There we go. Well, just be better and don't cut yourself. God, how hard is that? Like, seriously. What do you think? Good thickness? Those will probably cook pretty well. I wonder if you can fry this stuff like potato chips. Crispy. I love these fucking things. Oh. Sorry, I swore. I try to avoid swearing. I know it's not, like, necessary. We could even make them slightly thicker. Let's try one tick up. No, that's too fat. Okay. No, we're gonna stick with that one and just do that. There you go. And that is why we have a mandolin. I do not use this thing often enough for how frequently I end up needing to thinly slice stuff. But let's time it. Go. Oop. It fell off of its little teeth. Okay, I went a little bit too fast, and it fell off of its little teeth. But oh boy, now that it's sliced, it looks like way more. And I know, I Lawyer Jay, come to the rescue. If we put some cheese in with this, I suppose it depends on how big our pastry ends up being. What do we think? Is that enough? Because the galette isn't very tall. That's part of the point, is that it's a smaller option. In which case I shouldn't have prepped the second jicama. This one has an egg in it. That's absurd. That one's full of tomatoes. Crazy. Yes, Jay is our unpaid lawyer. Everyone's unpaid lawyer. Do I want to slice up the other parts that I've got here, or do I save them for snacking? My experience with it before is that it keeps even peeled quite well. So I could just put this in a bag and keep it. So I guess there's no harm in waiting. We'll keep the mandolin handy just in case I end up wanting more. But I'm gonna hold off on immediately slicing the other half because it looks, just eyeballing it, it looks like we have probably enough from that one. Or from two halves. What was that sound? That was the neighbor's car. Okay. What else is going in our galette? We're still kind of brainstorming a little bit. How to make any savory galette. Roundish exposed fillings, rustic, blah, blah, blah. Make the crust, chill the crust, roll the crust. Caramelized onions, sauteed kale, bacon, garlic, ricotta. Ooh, ricotta. Thinly sliced potatoes, asterisk. There's an asterisk. Where does the asterisk lead? I'm looking at a site called A Nourishing Plate. And it has given me an asterisk, but no connection. See helpful cooking tips below. For savory galette, you want to cook your fillings first to help build their flavor. You can get away with using uncooked potatoes, sweet potatoes, squash slices if you slice them thinly with a mandolin, which we just did. So, I guess those can go in raw. We're whacking together a thing, and I guess we pull out our favorite ingredients and throw them in there. What do I have? What do I have? So this is a dive in and see what you got. That's moldy. Not even going to show you that one. That one is toast. How about smoked duck? How about the tail of a mozzarella? How about we just grab, dig into Jovial's fridge and discover smoked duck, parsley. We could saute up an onion. I've got a little red. It was ricotta. It was a tub of ricotta I used for something, and I only used part of it. And it was sitting there, and I never got back to it. And I just peeked at it, and it had a spot. And I'm not even going to attempt to salvage it once it's got a spot. So, oh well. That one's toast. If we open this duck, because it's shrink wrapped, so it's been keeping, if we open this, we're going to have to use it within a little while. This is $16.50 a pound. This was $16.50 a pound when I got it and froze it. Oh, it's been a minute. If you can make out the date, you can go ahead and read it. I'm not going to read it to you. But I've got a smallish red onion. We could do a quick red onion. I used to pay full price for things. I've actually got half a red onion that's a little bit dried up. We should probably use that one first. I've also got shallot. Ooh. And garlic. Okay. I think we got the butt of a mozzarella, so we can put a little bit of cheese in it. We've got duck. We've got onion. We've got garlic. We've got parsley. I think that sounds like a good combination. And then the bulk of it is just these guys. My fridge is like an exotic traveling trader. Yes, you never know what you're gonna find. Let me reach in. Let me reach in and find you a half a jar of tomato jam. This brick of Limburger. Ooh, actually, a little Calabria chili might be good here. A little Calabria chili might actually be really good here. Okay. 2 cloves of garlic. The rest of the garlic can go in the little garlic house. This onion needs trimming because I only used half of it. And then I let it sort of dry up, but only a little bit of it is dried up. Approximately that much. There. Nice fresh part of the onion is still perfectly good. I do. I do. Not like pressure sealed canning, but I do a bunch of dehydration. We've got some of it around, and we dip into it occasionally. For example, let me toss this onion on real fast. Get it moving, and I can show off some stuff. We have, ooh, that one's almost out, actually. That one's almost toast. Here's a jar of chili oil I made from dried chilies that I dried. They were fresh chilies when I got them. This is dried tomato, which is quite tasty. Alpha-Fem, oh my god, a gift to Isosceles. Isosceles, you owe a thanks. Here's some more dried chilies. A lot of them are dried chilies. Peppers of all types dry really well. Somewhere I've got dried bell peppers. Did the same thing with those. I have plum jam from Plums from the discount bin. I had dried plums, which are sliced thinly and dehydrated until they're chewy crisp, like just on the crisp end of chewy. It's so good. And I unfortunately dropped the jar that they were in. They were in a glass container. They were in one of those latch top ones. I dropped it, and it crunched under its own weight. And I had to throw them all away because there was no way I was going to get all the little shards of glass out of them. So that was a huge, huge bummer because I was in love with those things. And now I got to wait for plums to come back in the discount bin and do it again. Whoop. Camera. 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 What are you doing? There it goes. That camera is having some troubles. There you go. We are giving the onions a little head start because this recipe thing I pulled up, how to make any kind of savory galette, said you'll want to cook your fillings first to help build flavor. So I'm giving our onions a little pre-fry to help build flavor. Let's give them just a pinch of salt. Meanwhile, over here, I'm going to peel our garlics in the old garlic tube. You know, I didn't even announce the the flower tower. Normally when I go get the flower tower, it gets announced. This time it just appeared. And it's still here. And it's still here, amazingly. I'm not going nuts with the garlic today. I know we love garlic. I am restraining myself with the garlic. We're going to give the garlic a little bit of a saute as well. I just heard a very unusual sound from the front end of the house. So I'm going to transfer this off the heat so it does not burn while I'm gone. And I'm going to go check that out just to make sure nothing cataclysmic has happened. See you in a moment. I guess we're good. I guess we're good. Nothing seems out of order up there. Slide back over here. We're going to grab the nut end of this mozzarella. I don't know why I called it the nut end. It's the first time in my life I have ever said that. What I meant was the butt end. Is that enough cheese? I don't know how big this thing is going to be, is the problem. I don't really have an idea of how big that pastry rolls out. That's going to be the trick. Always more cheese. I know. But really, is that enough? Because we're going to get some oiliness from the duck as it renders. We've got different kinds of cheese too. We don't have to just stick with mozzarella. We've also got some bacon. We could throw some bacon in, although I think the duck is going to do the job of the bacon. Unless, now I've already committed to the duck. That's cheese. That's a cheese. We can use that cheese. Develop our flavor. Thank you for the moisten. I'm looking at that onion mix and thinking, is that enough? Should there be more? Let's get this duck open and give it a slice. I got the idea for moisten from Tug. Except when Tug does it, he doesn't take a drink of water. He just says moist. Which, I mean, come on. Combine it with the hydrate. Okay, smoked duck. It is cooked, so no need to par cook this. Just to slice it thinly. I wish that Americans ate more duck and goose because they are much nicer to work with than chicken. And they obviously can be raised at scale economically because they do it in other parts of the world. And you can just snack on this. How would you describe the flavor and texture? Well, duck breast, which this is all dark meat. There's no white meat on the duck. The texture is very similar to other poultry. This particular one has been smoked. So in terms of flavor, this one tastes a lot like smoke. Tastes like a smoked meat, because that is exactly what it is. But in general, duck is more flavorful than chicken. But what makes it so much easier to work with is that this is duck breast, and you can see in these cross sections, there's a fat layer. And if I flip this over, that's the skin, and there's a fat layer right under the skin. Chickens don't have that on the breast. Neither do turkeys. But ducks and geese, waterfowl, do. It's part of the insulation against cold water, part of helping them float. But it means that when you cook it, that fat renders into the meat, and you get this succulent, juicy breast meat with a lot of flavor, as opposed to a chicken where the breast meat just kind of dries out. So you can cook a whole duck and not dry out the breast meat because of that little fat layer that renders in. Likewise, a goose is a much better centerpiece than a turkey because you can cook it whole, and that fat layer prevents it from drying out. Usually you'll see it like it'll be scored, so then it can really break down and melt into it. They're a lot more expensive than chickens, just because we don't like them in America for some reason, even though they're super delicious. You'll often see duck served less than well done as well. It'll have like when it's cooked. This one is this color because it's been smoked, so it's always going to be slightly colored. This one has been cooked right through. But you'll see duck breast often cooked so that it still has a blush So it's kind of like a more of a medium than a well done, which you can do with any poultry. Asterisk, because poultry carries some risk of salmonella, always does, always will. But people don't like it with chicken, but it makes duck taste better a lot of the time. Because what makes it dark is the same thing that makes beef dark. It's the myoglobin in the tissue is what makes the muscle that reddish color. Am I gonna put down I'm gonna put down a parchment. You can cook it right through. I find it easier to cook it right through. But muscle that is high in... I want to talk about this paper. I want to divert and talk about this paper. I like this paper. It's unbleached parchment paper for baking. I like everything about it except the teeth that they put to cut it are plastic, and they bent the first time I tried to use this thing. They are terrible. This should be a little middle strip like it is on most of these things. Everything except these little stupid teeth. The teeth are basically broken. You can't use them. So we're cutting it with a scissors. Other than that, I quite like this parchment. Back to meat. Back to meat. The stuff that makes meat red and the stuff that makes other meat not red is the presence or absence of myoglobin. And myoglobin tastes good. And myoglobin tastes good when it's less cooked. So that's why a rare steak is tasty, but you don't think of the same thing with like a rare pork chop. There's way less myoglobin. Chicken has very, very little, except in the dark meat. Duck, being all dark meat, has it all over the place, so people treat it like that. So it ends up getting treated a lot more like steak. I just realized that my oven's not preheating. What do we go for? Just a 350? 400 according to that. We're gonna find out what this pastry looks like, if this dough has worked at all. Everything is riding on the fact that this dough needs to not be a literal crumbly pile. It super is. It did not hydrate. What the hell? I mean, it's not a dough, it's just a crumbly pile. That part hydrated. Okay. Well, pastry can be rough, but, you know, it's still sand. It's still kind of just sand. That's not it. Parts of it are coming together too much. It's supposed to be able to be rolled. It's kind of humid. It's hot. I can push it together, but then it crumbles apart again. I don't know anything about pastry, so I am trying to follow directions, and these recipe sites disagree on things. Like, lots of things. How do we salvage this? I need a pastry expert, or somebody who knows more than nothing. because I don't know what I'm doing. It is not a cohesive thing that I can roll out at this stage. And I thought I followed the directions. So I do not have a stand mixer, no. I added twice as much water as the recipe that I was following called for. We can go for more. We can go for even more. There's a full stick of butter in here. Well, what we could do. Work out how to do this without making a mess. I always say baking, pastry, all that, absolutely my weakness. This thing has a dough blade, which is not the same thing as a dough hook. But, okay, and we're going to make that lower. I guess we're gonna have some time to kill. We can play with the okay, well, we can play with the pan while we wait for this to do its thing, I guess. I'm absolutely a cook, not a baker, and this is supposed to be an easier dough, and it... There's a dough button. I'm going to push it. That looks too wet to me. It definitely stuck together, but I think I probably should have done this before adding more water, because now I think it doesn't look like the pictures. It looks very much too sticky. We could add a little bit more flour just to try to dry it out. Now it has 6 tablespoons of water in it. And 1 stick of butter and 1.5 cups of flour. One of the recipes called for 2 cups of flour, so we could add 1/2 cup of flour and try to pull it back from the brink. That is within my ability. What do you think? A little at a time? Get the tower flour handy, put the lid on. A tablespoon at a time. We don't want to overwork. I know we don't want to overwork. It's supposed to be like a tender, crumbly. It's supposed to be like a tender and crumbly pastry. Well, I mean, learning is why I'm here for the most part. Better? What do we think? It's less shaggy on the surface, has more of a smoothness to it. Wrap that up, let it rest a minute, and just. I mean, yes, when it was almost entirely sand, that was a problem. I think the wet just never incorporated the first time. It's not sticking to me. Is how sticky it is. Okay. There'll be a little bit more flour in it when I roll it out anyways. So I guess we call that good enough. It sounds like I need to return and attempt making a short crust again, because I definitely bungled this one and I want to know how to do it right. So I guess put a pin in short crust pastry, because we're coming back. We're coming back. Does it, pastry experts in chat, does it still need to rest in the fridge at this stage, or do we just soldier forth? That is the other question. I'm gonna assume yes with the rest in the fridge. Just on account of yeah. Liz says do it as is. I mean, if it's not necessary to rest it, I wouldn't waste the time. Although I'm in no rush today. I got nowhere to be. I've got something to fill time in the event that I need to fill time today as well. So we can do it. But yes, the note about it being warm, especially when it was in that running motor, that's a good shout. It doesn't feel wildly problematic. I guess I don't know what short crust is supposed to be. This is why doing this with chat, that's you personally, is so helpful, because then I can be like, what do you think? Okay. Since we are now letting that rest, and I don't really have any more ingredients over here to prep, I think we should test drive that crazy pan. Join me. I don't need this pan. Join me, because it has had a chance to dry out, sitting in the corner. That's the pan. It's a griddle, of course. And like I said, in theory, you can just crack an egg right on it and it'll be fine. Now, Hexclad themselves say put a tablespoon of butter in your pan for an egg. Short crust should be like Play-Doh and then hard and sandy when baked. That stuff I just put in the fridge is very similar in consistency to Play-Doh. So that's a good sign, and thank you for a something that I can work with that isn't do it until it's right. Which a lot of recipes are like, do it until it's the right texture. Damn it. And every once in a while they'll have a picture, but sometimes most often they won't. And I'm making notes of all these things I hate about other recipe sites for when I eventually make my own recipe site and do recipes. So I can be like, there's pictures of the stages that you might not know so that you can reference those stages. Anyways, fancy pan. Temperature. The egg test is the ultimate test for any pan. Because eggs are notoriously, they cook very fast, they stick very easily, and also they're very common. So it's not like it's some odd thing that people won't encounter. Frying an egg in your pan, super common. Do we use butter or do we use olive oil? Normally I go for olive oil. So we are going to go with my normal here. Oh yeah, I have some nice eggs. If we slide over, they're just up the road. They're ungraded eggs, so you get some like big monsters and some you get inconsistently sized eggs here. And they just jam them all in and you get what you get. They're quite nice eggs. And also, I really like this brand because when the egg price explosion happened, y'all remember when egg prices went completely berserk. This brand of eggs, this farm, did not raise their prices. They just held steady. And I'm pretty sure it's because they don't have any long distance shipping. Because it's a big farm. Not like it's a little local just... It's not like it's just a little local farm. But they're very regional. So I'm sure they're shipping with their own trucks, actually. And they didn't have a bird flu outbreak, so they didn't do any culling. I know, never again will we see the 18 eggs for $1. I'm getting a lot of radiant heat, even out near the edge, although not right on the lip. Mostly right in the middle. $25 for 5 dozen eggs. I don't know, 5 dozen eggs seems like a lot of eggs. I'm going to crack my egg into a little bowl so that I can gently egg it into the pan. instead of... Oh, come on, egg. Trouble with, of course, nicer eggs is they have tougher shells that you embarrass yourself trying to get open and end up crushing little fragments of shell into your egg. So, yeah. I can smell the pan. That's an odd sign. It doesn't smell like burning Teflon, which, by the way, Teflon burns. This pan is supposed to be good up to 500 degrees, according to the marketing, which means it's not Teflon, because Teflon would burn at that temperature. But it definitely is doing something, because I can just smell it a little bit. The oil runs to the side, of course, because my stove is uneven. Oh, and, huh. Okay. Of note, it is clearly not level, because my oil runs around the outside, not toward the middle. That's a problem. That's a use problem. I can spray down the middle, and it'll stay there, but there's a high spot in the middle. That might be why this particular pan was dumped at the thrift store. That's annoying. Huh. What do you do about that? I couldn't see a high spot, so it has to be subtle. Oh, but the non-stick element is... The non-stick element is amazing. No. Oh, wow, the egg just wants to slide. The egg just wants to slide on this stuff. I don't think I needed the oil, honestly. Because the oil obviously escaped. I think we actually could have just cracked that egg right onto that pan and done it. Look at that. Look at it. Just look at it go. Wow. How heavy is the pan itself? It's medium heavy. Oop. And that's an egg. Let me get the egg off of there real quick. Oop. So I am using. Oh, I broke the yolk. Last second, I dropped the yolk and broke it. Heck. Heck. Well, at least I got my runny yolk on my plate instead of on the pan. So I did deliberately use the metal spatula which having a very, very thin edge, if we slide over here, it has a very thin edge to get under the egg, but you're not supposed to use it on nonstick because it scratches the nonstick. But it just glided over that. Okay. So I broke the yolk by dropping it because it was and this is how I like to have an egg. Pinch of salt, twist of pepper, and usually a piece of toast. Damn. Okay, my esteem for that thing has elevated. The non-stick element delivered. Flamingo wants to know how heavy the pan is. It's it's not as heavy as this medium-sized cast iron. I need to get rid of that little dribble of oil that's on there before I spill it, because it's boiling hot. It's not light, but it's not crazy heavy. It's definitely heavier than my standard nonstick skillet. All I really have for weights is comparisons like that. It feels like it's around as heavy as. It's maybe a little bit lighter than this guy. I think the construction is mostly stainless. I know it's predominantly stainless. Well, it's on the heavier side. It's not a lightweight pan. I will say that. I'm gonna eat this egg. The sticky part, the non-sticky part, worked really well. I'm extremely impressed with that. I bet you it makes a mean pancake. Oh, I had you guys. Sorry, I was holding pans over here because I thought you guys were over here with me. What do we got? Jay says I can hammer it. Avoid direct hammer contact with the non-stick. I don't know what their non-stick is made of, is the thing. It's not Teflon, and I don't think it's ceramic. They say it's patented non-stick technology, but they won't tell me what the heck it is. I might contact their customer service and ask them about the pan being bowed slightly. I couldn't see. It looks flat, but obviously in use it's slightly raised in the center. Welding, beautiful egg. Okay, well, yeah, count me among the impressed. That pan, now it's a griddle, so A griddle should be very flat because you often do eggs on a griddle. Like, I would think this large flat surface, you would do a couple of strips of bacon, a couple of eggs, get them off of there, and then do some pancakes. And pancakes also want a really flat surface so that they, you know, cake. Now the bacon obviously won't have a problem, but the egg, now my whole stove is sloped slightly away from you guys. So that's my problem. But the way the oil went to the edge and then when I tried to tip it back, went around instead of through the middle, that means it's not. Because my other griddle, I have another griddle. My other griddle is this one. And this one, I would not trust to chuck an egg on it directly because it's cast iron. It needs maybe a touch up on its seasoning as well. And that means that I now have two expensive griddles. The one I just showed you is like $80 because it's a classic, like old school, like collector's piece. Anyways, I think we have killed enough time to let our dough chill out, and my oven has preheated, so I think we're coming back to try this thing again. Brace yourselves. And yeah, one of my friends has a electric griddle, and it's really handy, except one of the capacitors died, which means now half of it heats normally, and half of it heats uncontrollably. So it's not the capacitor, it's the thermocouple. Whatever makes it stop heating is broken. So half of it just heats uncontrollably and goes to maximum temperature all the time. Which makes me think maybe having the electronics built directly into the cooker, into the cooking surface, isn't the best. But who knows? I see those at thrift stores sometimes too, the electric ones. Fairly critical. Fairly critical. Hello. Welcome. You're on a 5-month streak. That's almost a year. Thank you so much for the subscribing. Hello, hello. You're just in time for pastry part 3? Pastry, but again. Well, it's not so much practice as we screwed up the first time and I had to salvage our dough ball with help from you guys in the old chatteroo. Not sticking to my rolling pin, but it is sticking to my parchment paper. How thin am I supposed to make this? That's another question that inquiring minds want to know. How stuck are you? How thick are you? A little bit of dry flour there. How thick are you supposed to this? Any savory galette? Help me, any savory galette. Work quickly. 1/8 of an inch thick. We can bring this a little bit thinner then. Anyways, thank you so much for the resub, Fairly Critical. Bookwoman, hi. You might have missed me if we had not messed up the pastry the first time. We're still at it because of that. Also, hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome. We're making a thing. It had been in the oven by now. I was gonna do the pan test while this was in the oven. That was the original plan. But we all saw how that worked. Which means Bookwoman missed the pan. I'll show you off. And I think Critical missed the pan too. Okay, we definitely did not need the second jicama. Get our cheese on the inside. Get our duck. And then, I didn't forget. You forgot. These are probably cool enough I can just handle them. Yeah. The onion and garlic are going to go over the top of the duck. So the oil can, in theory, drip down. Into our jicama. And then I had some parsley, and I'm debating whether I want to even bother with it. I almost washed my hands, and I licked one of my fingers, and I realized that what I was about to wash off was garlic and onion infused olive oil, and then I licked all of my fingers because it was so tasty. Okay. Working swiftly. And then you leave the middle open like that, and that is what a galette looks like. Sprinkle parsley at the end is a decent shout, so that it doesn't just go all burny on me. And then I was given the tip that we just take a smidgen of water onto the surface here. Which is all you need for just a little bit of salt to stick. It feels like it's got a pastry texture to it. It's going in the oven. There it goes. There it goes. How long does it need? I don't know. How could I possibly know? 400 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes, so 30 minutes. Yeah. So, for those of you who've just arrived and missed it, we got this, and I've already used it, because that was our test. I was going to do this while the thing was in the oven, and then I had to do it while it was doing its second rest instead. Yes, we're looking for GBD. GBD. That's the target. I'm going to have to revisit short crust pastry because clearly I don't know what I'm doing. And it seems like the kind of thing where I should probably know how to do that. That's a pretty basic one. But the pan, I didn't put in, I will put this in as a topping, the Asiago. I forgot about the Asiago. I forgot about the Asiago. I also did not put in the Calabria chili, which is fine. So yes, this Hexclad premium luxury brand of pans. You could buy this pan brand new right now at Costco for $100. Or you can buy it brand new from the company Hexclad for $150. I don't know how Costco is managing to shave $100 off a luxury premium thing. Cheesing the pastry, is it? I don't want to fuss with it right now. Next time, we'll do that next time. We will do that next time. Jay thinks we can flatten this a little bit. It is slightly bowed in the center, and the oil wants to vacate to the edges, which is a problem, and probably why I found it at the thrift store for $8. Because I found it at a thrift store for $8. This $100+ pan that looks like it's barely been used. And I bet you it's barely been used because of that exact problem I noticed. It's gotta be subtle. I can't see it being off level. But it definitely is. But yeah, this is, and they paid Mr. Gordon Ramsay like, how much did he got? He got so many millions of dollars from this company to promote these pans for like a year. I saw him with these pans doing stuff all the time. I don't think he ever actually put these pans in any of his kitchens because they're expensive. I'm sure his kitchens are just using the same old steel they always used. But yeah. And from my testing, uh, oh, it sounds terrible. And I can feel the edge of the spatula. It's not perfectly smooth. You can feel the texture. So it's definitely there, and you're supposed to be able to feel the texture because it's those little dots lifting the metal cookware above the nonstick. But we tested it just a few minutes ago, and the egg that I threw in there, first of all, tried to run to the side, but also, even though the oil all ran to the side, the egg didn't stick, and the egg was just like gliding on the surface. So it passed my egg test. And now we got to see if I can gently, and I don't have any tools for it, but one of my friends has some tools, so I can maybe see if they've got a thing. See if we can't gently level out the slight bow in the bottom. Or I can call the company and see what they have to say about it. If you can afford it, a rubber mallet, yeah, a rubber mallet would be the tool. Probably a rubber mallet, and then like a sheet of something, just so I'm not, and just gentle, just like, I don't know, be real careful with it. Because I didn't have any plans for it because I only literally found it today. And the only short notice thing is to throw on a pan to test it is an egg. Pancakes are the next logical tester. A piece of meat, like a pork chop. The excitement of the pan has delayed things, yes, as well. The excitement of the pan has definitely slowed things down. I don't mind. We solved my battery problem, so I'm not into any danger of running out of power. I finally solved that battery problem. Yeah. I've got a main event dish coming up, so I don't have anything else. We just have to kind of sit around for a little bit because, again, my original intent was we play with this while the galette is in the oven instead of while the pastry is in the fridge. Well, so what? Have I gotten any other like fun gadgets? I got a new light, but I don't know what to do with that yet. It's just kind of hanging out until I can figure out where to hook it up. We already did Oreos. I can teach you about whatever. Ask me a question. I found bottled water for an appropriate price. If it costs more than 5 cents, don't buy it. Even 5 cents is like an upcharge on bottled water, so it's better be tastier than tap water. Oh, speaking of water, I've been talking a lot. What can I teach you about? What can I teach you about? I should have a channel point reward where you propose a topic and I talk about it. Why do they discount water? I think. So the one I showed you was in good condition, but several of the bottles that were discounted were partially crushed. I think this was a pack that got dropped and probably broke open and they all rolled around. And instead of, because they're not marked for individual sale, they don't have their own barcodes. So instead of dealing with them, they just whacked a let's get rid of it sticker on them and got them out the door. Because a bunch of them are like partially crushed. So I'm positive that's what happened. It was just a pack. Because I've seen that before with like soda that was clearly in a pack because they also sell them individually, but for some reason they're selling them discounted individually, and it's because if you sort through, one of them is like crushed because somebody dropped the thing and they all fell out of the rings, and then they got little discount stickers slapped on them. And yes, because you're right, water doesn't go bad. Water in a bottle is not going off. So I just grabbed those because they were literally there were 10 of them, and I got 5 cents each. So I've got bottled water for an emergency or something for super cheap. I normally stick with tap water, but you know, can't say no. The most unique item in my fridge/freezer. We've already done that a little bit. We hauled out some duck, which was in the freezer, and I moved to the fridge to thaw, and then we used it today. Unique oddities. Well, longtime viewers might remember this one because it's made an appearance once before, but it's the thing you're asking for. It's back there somewhere. Oh, which we got to figure out what to do with them. There you go. Weirdest thing in my freezer. Can you tell what they are through the bag? Weirdest thing in my freezer? Shell-on sea snails. They're marine snails. They're periwinkle. I got them for a Stardew Valley themed thing so that I could make the Strange Bun, but for real. I should probably defrost them a little bit to get the ice chunks off and then transfer them to a vacuum pack because I didn't have the vacuum sealer when I got these, so that's why they ended up in this bag. They don't taste bad. I just don't know what to do with them. They kind of taste like generic oceany flavor. I can't quite get a seal on it. Ugh. Tell you what, since we have them out now, and I need to deal with them, and I am unable to get the air seal restored in the bag, we're going to do this right now, right in front of you. This is the other thing I do to save my my findings from the discount bins, because the discount bins include meat and other things that can't just be like instantly readily used. And the device itself was discounted. These things are, vacuum sealers are a miracle. The only issue I've had with them is that if you try to seal something that has sharp points on it, they have a bad habit of puncturing the plastic and then it loses its vacuum seal. I tried vacuum sealing a lobster tail and the little edges on the tail poked through the plastic every time. So, does not work for everything. Works actually best for slightly soft things as opposed to hard things. But yeah, this is the kind of thing that also you find at thrift stores. I was just there and I saw, 3 more of them. There's usually something wrong with them. That's why they're there, so take a look at them. If you're looking for one, take a look at them. Figure out what's wrong with them and see if it's fixable. This one that I got had a bad gasket seal, and replacing the gasket seal was very easy and cheap. So it was a no-brainer. Okay. Okay, snails in the thing. This will save some room too. They'll take up less space. And there you go. Rock hard, vacuum sealed snails. We will do something with them maybe eventually. I don't know. I don't know what to do with them. There's no recipes. There was a little bit of cracking sounds, but it did not seem like it did much damage to the shells, no. So that's definitely the most obviously strange thing I've got on hand is just sea snails because I needed them and I happened to find them locally. I happened to find them, just happened to find them locally at my local Asian market, which does not normally carry them, has not carried them since I got them, and it was the only package they had in the freezer. It was incredibly fortuitous. What else have we got in here? I have frozen blanched ramps from last summer because I was given so many of them, there was no way I could get through them all. And also, I discovered that you can only use a small amount of them at a time, or they mess up your guts. So, do a chopped challenge and just use up random stuff. We could do that. I've got so much random stuff. Here's one, and you'll see it as I haul it out. I gotta make room to haul it to the front. Get that guy out of there. Gotta make room. Gotta make room. Oh, it's another one that I don't know what to do with. Ooh, and it's a little worse for wear than when I put it in there. It's a fish. It has frosted up quite a bit since I put it in there. That's not... But hey, you want an entire fish in a box? I've got an entire fish in a box. I've also got half a fish in a bag. The fish is probably freezer burned, yes. It was under a vacuum seal just from the manufacturer, and I thought that that would hold, but I guess it wasn't a very good one. Some things hold really well. This is sushi grade salmon that's been in there for a couple months, and it is a-okay. But I guess that big guy, he was probably too moist. He was probably too moist. I imagine that being a problem with vacuum sealing large chunks of meat. Because it wasn't frozen when I bought it either. I froze it. It was another duck breast. So I probably need to figure out what to do with that whole salmon. It's smoked as well. Or buried in the garden for the plants. It's a whole smoked salmon. It's a heck of a big thing. Oh, Flamingo wants a moisten. I can oblige. Moist. Let me take a peek at my galette. Ooh. Not done, but it's definitely looking better than when I put it in there. So yeah, the problem is, I got it because it was on sale, and it was in a plastic vacuum sealed bag inside of that box that it's in, and I thought, great, I'll just chuck this in my freezer, and then I can haul it out for like a holiday or a party or an event. And so many of those have come and gone, and that thing sits in there. So I need to commit to opening it up, seeing what condition it's in, and then have a plan to use the whole thing if it's in good condition, but not be so committed that I don't have a back, that I would... I've done that before. You don't see it because I do it for you guys sometimes. And then the extra one gets shuffled to the side where I'll pull something out that's been in there for a while, and it's still good, and we'll cook with it. But in secret, I have purchased a new one of the same thing, just in case the one that I pull out and check on was gnarly. Fish stew, fish tacos, fish balls, fish patties, fishy fish. A lot of fish. I need to get that out of there also because it takes up a lot of room. I'm supposed to be. I keep putting more things in here. I could take things out. Anyways, yes. Figure out what to do with that whole salmon. So yeah. I enjoy having the freezer be kind of stuffed so that I can rummage around and find, so that you can go dive in there and pull out scrap. Good thing I don't have a big freezer. If I had a bigger freezer, I would fill it up. I've thought about getting a chest freezer, putting it in the other room and just filling it up with nonsense. A large scallop. Put that there. It's right. I can't resist a bargain. I can sometimes, but it's infrequent. More frequently, I just like, that's a great deal. Grab it, huck it in the freezer. One of the reasons I needed to get that vacuum sealer so that I can take the air out of things and pack my freezer more tightly, which has worked. I've gotten more stuff in there since I started doing that. Yeah. Boy. I got turkey necks in there. Coquille Saint-Jacques. Okay, we're doing a search. Coquille Saint-Jacques. Black pepper, buttermilk, clam, Dijon mustard. Coquille Saint-Jacques. What is this? Coquille Saint-Jacques is one of the world's most delicious dishes. Rich and decadent, yet light and fancy. 30 minutes. Butter, shallots, mushrooms, pepper, wine, scallops. I've got sea scallops. Cream, yolk, tarragon, zest, scallop shells. Oh. Scallops served in scallop shells. Interesting. Interesting. Maybe. The scallops aren't nearly as old as that fish. I should focus on that big fish. Good idea. Always hit me up with suggestions. We have a suggestion box here in the Discord, which I will once again drop. Oop. Load. It loaded. Channel point redeemed to make me do a specific recipe. I will probably do things people request without channel points, but I do need things to spend channel points on. Is it really? It should be. Yes. This time it is. I'm sorry. I apologize. You're the only person I've ever sent to the other Discord. Boo. I guess we're wasting time. Somebody posted a picture of food. Vanilla extract. Homemade vanilla extract. Oh my goodness. Well, you'll have to join the Discord to check out Flamingo's homemade vanilla extract. What time is it? 7:30. Boy, I started late too. I started late because I was distracted out with the thrifting. So I didn't get back in time to start on time. And now we're running late. We haven't run late in a while. Good thing I had a big lunch. It's a good thing I had a big lunch and I'm not champing at the bit for this dinner. Although it's starting to smell heavenly in there. So we're getting there. Ooh, this stuff. The very thin slices of jicama. We didn't use them all. They're dry, but they're getting like flexible, but they're still crisp, which is very interesting. Some of them have little holes, which is strange. They didn't have holes when I sliced them. Air fry them. Oh, it's so good. They're good as is the thing. They're like, oh, that's right. We can try that. I've got a little bit of time. I've got a little bit of time yet on that thing. We can do an experiment here. That one's thick. They're slightly inconsistently thickness because I tested a few of them at a thicker cut, of course. I literally forgot about that. Literally. Okay, let's blast them. Let's blast them. See what they do. Just blast them. George, hi. Yes, I put the extra jicama slices in the air fryer to see what happens. Because we are trying to kill some time while our thing. It's in the title. I could just read it. Galette bakes. We're making it up because the thing I had planned, we did early. Was too excited about it. Shouting out George. Fellow foodman George does food. We're doing something real fancy today, George. We've gone off the deep end of fancy. Uh, it's a problem. Um, and we got this crazy pan. This crazy pan. We're gonna have to make pancakes. I feel like I should schedule something where I just put that pan aggressively through its paces. Got back from hanging with the neighbors and pre-celebrating your daughter's birthday. Happy birthday, Mini George. The smaller George. Happy birthday. $20 to make a dinner for 4 people. What am I making? I can get you way under 20. Noodles are always my go-to, but I'm almost thinking I can do you 4 servings of... Oh, I know it's in my head. What is that stuff called? It is called... Boy, I must be hungry. I'm blanking on stuff. Shakshuka. Shakshuka. I can do you 4 servings of shakshuka. Under 20, easy peasy. We should check on these guys. They need to be moved about. You could probably do beef stew, because you'd end up with using the cheaper cuts of beef. They are kind of laying on top of each other in a slightly annoying way. The fan in here that runs when the air fryer is going is quite forceful, and lightweight things tend to get physically thrown around in a slightly annoying way. Americanized goulash and fresh bread. Okay, so I was thinking $20 for a meal for 4 would be like, we need dinner tonight, here's $20. Bread would take longer. Making your own bread, nice and cheap, but it takes time. I could hit you with the shakshuka with what I've got on the shelf right now, served over I could do you a couscous, or I could do you a pasta, or I could do you rice. Or I could do you grits. Ooh, shakshuka and grits. 2 Costco pizzas. Sorted. Got it. Done. Next question. Ooh, we're getting brown in there. That has been in there for 30-ish minutes. Chicken fried rice and egg rolls. Fried rice is an excellent, like just egg fried rice. Fried rice with no additional mainline protein is an excellent dish to just whip up because it's got eggs in it. and it's odds and ends vegetables. You don't have to have. I was just watching a food YouTuber, and he did a video talking about how people. Let's get up to my face. About how people, a lot of people, are too beholden to recipes, that they don't know necessarily how to just cook with what's available, and they stick to, I need this and this and this and this to make this recipe, and don't, because then you end up buying like something that the recipe calls for that you can't just get the pinch the recipe calls for, and then you don't know what to do with the rest of it until you find another recipe that calls for that thing. I am a big advocate of learning, like, not just like one-to-one substitutions, but like broad category substitutions. Like, if you don't have chicken for a recipe that calls for chicken, swap in a different protein that behaves in a somewhat similar way to how you were going to apply the chicken. And it can be something wildly different. It doesn't have to be even like pork chops. It could be a can of chickpeas. It could be a pile of mushrooms. Because you're trying to slide in a substitute. And if you do end up with something that you had to buy a bunch of and don't know what to do with it, figure out what to do with it. Taste it. Throw it in stuff and find out what it tastes like with other things, so that when you are cooking something else and you're like, it needs something. Because I do that all the time. I'll taste something and I'm like, it needs a something. It needs a little something. And then I'll reach over here and I'll find like marjoram. And I'll go, marjoram. And then we'll try a little bit of marjoram. We don't use marjoram very often. I probably could have put it in that galette. That actually wouldn't have been a bad shot. I didn't think of that. I've just been given one. This was a gift. This one was a gift. Very shiny. Moroccan preserved lemon. I don't know what we're going to do with it, but someday we're going to find out. We're going to crack that open, pull one of those out, and do something with it. And there's 3 of them in there. So the first one's going to be, let's play around. The second one's going to be, I know what this tastes like. We can throw it into something, whatever. You know. Just big advocate of just playing. These things are not chipping very well. I am going to give up. Oops. These have been going the whole time that we've been chitting and chatting. Recipes are an excellent way to get started, but you have to pay attention to what you are doing. And I think that a recipe that doesn't tell you why you're doing something is doing you dirty, because you're not learning why you have done a thing in a particular way, so that in the future, when it comes up again, you aren't going to remember, oh, I do this. Anyways, these things didn't chip real well. The ones that got crispy got like burnt brown, and the ones that didn't are still floppy. So think maybe they probably don't chip real well. If it sucks, you can throw it away. That's one of the reasons I'm a big fan of the discount bin, is because I can grab an ingredient that I don't know much about and give it a test drive without risking a big investment on it, because some of the odd ingredients are kind of pricey. That has been in there now for approaching 40 minutes. So we probably pull it out, right? These things didn't chip real well. They're still crispy. Wow. How are they maintain? It's like water chestnut, where it has that crisp texture even when it's been cooked to heck. That's fascinating. That's fascinating. It actually tastes really good with the little toasty edges. They taste even better. Wow. Now I just want to roast the. Oh my god, I'm falling in love with jicama, guys. You're seeing it in real time. Oh man, those are good. Oh man, those are good. Anyways, I think that we pull the thing out and look at it, because I don't know what else it's going to do in there besides look like that. It's looked like that the last two times I peeked at it, which suggests that it's done. What do you think? Baking expert. Baking experts sound off. It looks really good. The fillings have melted and melded together. I can see cheese poking through. The crust is hard, firm, solid. We didn't egg wash it, so we're not getting that golden brown, but we're getting sort of just, medium brown. The salt that I put on there stuck. It smells really good. I'm not gonna lie, it smells a great deal like smoked duck. That is definitely a prominent note that we're dealing with here, which isn't a surprise to me. Let's get it off of there. Oop. And it's solid and didn't stick and didn't leak. And there you go. That's a galette. Now, it's supposed to be really easy to make a galette, and you just grab a bunch of random odds and ends and you throw them in there, and it comes out tasty. And then you don't forget to turn your oven off, and it comes out tasty. You can make them with fruit. I made this one savory because I was working with the jicama, which is not a sweet ingredient, although it's a neutral enough ingredient that I bet you could take it in a sweet direction with other sweet things. I went with savory. You can do this with fruits, make a sweet one. You can do this with fruits and savory. You can put literally anything in there. You can put literally anything in there, and it'll come out probably delicious. So yeah, let's put it on the board because I was going to cut it, but I want to take a picture of it before I cut it. So we're going to transfer it to a picture-worthy plate. Oh, all my water is over here on the camera station. The camera station hopefully is receiving an upgrade because I did find a light that I think is appropriate, but we have to test it out. We tried a light last time that I wasn't happy with. And then we're going to taste it, and then we're going to wrap this sucker up because I have run long. What's everyone else having for dinner? You can see what I'm having for dinner. It's this. I think I may have rolled the pastry a tad thick. I feel like if you rolled it out thinner, you'd get a nicer little result. And I have just the tool. And I have just the tool for handling this. Oh. My mezzaluna, my cheap mezzaluna. And there you go. Did we get a cheese pull? Just a hint of one. Oh, it's hot. It's hot. If we pull one of these out, we can see the stacked up layers of jicama underneath our savory, bright pink toppings. It's holding together quite well. I can flip it. Our bottom crust is nice and dry, no soggy bottoms. I dare say preliminary success. Let's taste it. Oh, it's hot. Mmm. 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 Oh, we've got a new one for that. Yeah. It's pretty tasty. It could use more onion, and I think actually, I hate to say this, slightly less smoked duck. The smoked duck is definitely the dominant flavor. The crisp texture of the jicama is still in there, even though it's cooked and tender. This stuff just kind of holds up, I guess. I wish it had more onion, more of the caramelized onion layer in there. The garlic is quite nice. Sort of toasty caramelized garlic flavor is coming through quite nicely. The onion feels a little bit weak. It feels a little bit weak next to the quite assertive smoked duck flavor, which is very tasty, but it's very one note because the smoked duck is just the one flavor. What would I do at this point? It needs another assertive flavor that can be added late. And you know what is an assertive flavor that I can add even up to the very end of all things here is Asiago cheese. Which we talked about earlier, and I'm just doing. Also, I'm not going to eat this with a fork. I'm going to eat it like a pizza. That's very hot. Mmm. Mmm. Oh, that helps. The nuttiness of the cheese helps. I don't know why I opened the fridge just now. The nuttiness of the cheese helps. Having more of the crust in that bite also helps mitigate, because the crust is a large sort of savory neutral mass to balance out the strongly savory duck. That's the problem. The duck is very savory, and it is the main flavor, so it's kind of cranking the whole thing in the savory direction, which is why I wanted more caramelized onion, because that would pull us back in the sweet direction. I almost say you want to put like just a drizzle of honey on the inside of it before you bake it, so that there's a little bit of sweetness shot through it. Because that's what it's missing. It's missing a little bit of sweetness. It's tasty, but it's unbalanced on account of that sweetness. The jicama is very interesting because it retains its flavor and crunch, even though it's obviously cooked because it's very tender. For this, normal honey, but hot honey in a different context. Hot honey in a different context. I think I also underspiced it. So, some black pepper. It could probably have used some herbs on the inside as well. Okay. So, when I said earlier that you can take anything and jam it in there and it'll be tasty, there's an asterisk. Take anything, balance your flavors, jam it in there, and it'll be tasty. I feel like the duck is too assertive. The duck needs, because the mozzarella, we use mozzarella as our cheese, and mozzarella is a completely blank slate cheese. Tastes like almost nothing. So it's not fighting against the duck. The jicama is delicious vegetable, but the flavor is extremely mild, so it's not really pushing back against the duck. The onion is a beautiful flavor. We just didn't have enough onion, which is why my mouth was like, more of that, please. The duck is just such an assertive, savory flavor, and all the rest of the things in there are either not enough or are a mild flavor. It needs an assertive, flavored something else, which is why the Asiago tasted nice, because it's got that nuttiness. Honey, herbs. This stuff would actually have been good. Spices. I love when labels just say spices. I'm kidding. I hate when labels just say spices. Which spices? Go ahead. Well, it's good. I'll probably serve it with something, because it's a little unbalanced on its own. Well, we are pushing 3 hours. I can't believe we didn't have any interruptions today. Apparently we dropped 300 frames at some point. Gonna hang on to this cheese. We're pushing 3 hours. You guys have stuck with me, which is incredible. Last time I did one this long, people were like heading for the hills. So thanks for that. I don't know who's on after 8 o'clock. I'm never on this late. Let's find out together, but also just me because you guys can't see this screen. That's a bad channel. We're not going there. There's Murphy. Lompling Laura is on. We tried Laura once recently. Ooh. Breezy. Let's go see Murphy. Let's go see Murphy. I distracted you. Good. That was my plan. I don't want anyone to get anything done. Just sit there and watch. Anyways, we're going to go see Murphy. Murphy's good time. Murphy's playing Fallout. One of the Fallouts. It looks like Fallout 3? It looks like Fallout 3. I will see you. It's Friday. It's Friday? I have a busy weekend coming up. And then we will see you next week. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for the subscriptions. I have a thing covering my feed, so I can't read them out, which is very unfortunate. I should have read them out before I hit that button. I remember Warder right at the start, and there was a gift to Isosceles, and I can't. I hate that the raid thing covers the screen. We're gonna have to do another galette because I want to practice my short crust, and we're gonna have to do that salmon, and we could just do that right away and make a smoked salmon galette. That might be fun. There's my countdown. I almost missed it. Bye! Bye!